explained some of her behavior. Um, I would say part that I know some men like probably didn't land so well with. Look, there are some people, by the way, there are some people who like felt that I was like not a great boss or, you know, was a little bit of a fast talker and didn't sort of respect boundaries or found my voice annoying. I like that, by the way. I want to annoy you with my voice, but
Many people think I have a very annoying
annoying voice. So
voice.
it's like,
Yes.
okay, well, I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
change.
exactly.
I think some men probably were put off by Taylor's storyline, just like the dichotomy of, I think women can relate to it more and understand that like you can be you can at one point want to have a child but also be in an unhappy marriage, that those things can coexist. I think like men struggle with those things coexisting for someone. But otherwise, like honestly, the reception has been pretty positive. I would say like most people are like rooting for us, rooting for the team, rooting for the show and the cast from those who watched it. I don't know if like that many people watched it, but those who have seem to really like it.
Yeah, I like to. I mean, like I said, sometimes I interview people and do the bare minimum. I'll watch episode, like one and then like the reunion.
Right.
No, this show, if you weren't here today, I still would have
Okay,
watched
thank you.
It's
I
like,
appreciate
it's
it.
just, I mean, look, I'm a New Yorker, even though I have a place in LA now too, but
Yeah.
this is my home. Like
Right.
so I love a real estate show. I mean, this was like, it's about time. Like we had LA, it was great. Selling the OC, I think is phenomenal
Right.
because they have but this was like, I'm like, it's about time we had a
This
New York
is
version.
also like I feel like New York had sort of a bad shake with reality shows. Like Roni was canceled. There was no other New York show. Ryan came up with his. It actually conceptually his came out after ours, right? Like ours conceptually was already in the works when then,
Interesting.
and I don't think his had a concept. I think his was just like Ryan's an amazing character. There should be a show about him. And his production company was sort of just like, let's shoot and see what we get. And then it was sold to a network. So it happened to be both. But I think they're different shows. His, I think, is more about him having a company and less about the other cast members and really more about him and his journey and maybe more transactional. I think what ours did, which I love, is like it made New York look exceptional. If you're a New Yorker, you'll appreciate that it was like the most beautiful version of New York ever, right? Like every frame being visually beautiful, color corrected, the women are beautiful, the fashion, like it just was like the utopic version of what New York City is, right? Like which it all isn't always like that.
Yeah.
And it's had a rough few years, but I thought like you watch our show and you're like, fuck, I want to be there. I want to like jump into the screen and be in this incredible place where there's like great restaurants and parks and the real estate is like sexy. It all sort of,
because I wasn't aware that this show was coming in and but I was like, I really thought Ryan's show was this. Like, I never thought there would be, like, I knew it wasn't Adam Devella, but I really thought that was it.
I think
was
that they
the New
probably
York
try.
version.
So by the way, like I can't speak for Ryan or his cast, but I would assume that if you're filming a reality show about real estate and you know that like the preeminent dominant show in real estate is Selling Sunset, that a part of you will try to emulate that to a degree, even though it's not the same production company. I think that like probably some of the female cast on the show like was watching Sunset and maybe tried to do that.
Yeah.
But it's a different show. I mean, really is. Like Ryan I would say was like the star of $1 Million Listing and carried that. And to me, that show reads more $1 Million Listing. We definitely had like more of a platform to emulate in terms of like the Sunset, right? Like the set being the office and the women really being the stars of the show and all of that, except with sort of our gritty New York version,
Do you feel that there is either on your cast or producers or from Ryan that there is competition between the two shows?
I'm sure there is on some level, right? Because like they're two real estate shows in New York and they happen to come out at around the same time, sort of within a 6-month time span. Not for me. I think like the more the merrier. Like I think competition like only breeds opportunity and glory. And I actually think that like it's good for us both to coexist. Obviously it's my industry, so I like it. So the more shows about my industry, the better.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, there probably is a little bit of like an inherent like gut reaction to compare the two for sure.
I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
look, if Netflix was worried about it, they wouldn't have picked up both shows. One of them would be on a different network. So
Exactly. So they picked up, right? Like obviously ours is a spinoff of a show that they already subscribed to, and his was sort of a new concept. But yeah, I mean, like, look, I really think they coexist. I definitely there are men and people in real estate who like love his show. Where like I love the real estate, I love watching him, I love this sort of sales technique. But he's also already a character that was like known to people for 10 years. I'm completely new, and so are the 7 people on my show. You know, Steve, I think was a little familiar,
yeah.
but we're new and we're way smaller cast. I think he has like 12 people. We have 8. So like I think we hold our own in a very different way, but that's giving all kudos and respect to his show and what they're doing.
Since I own an apartment in New York and I've owned
Okay.
apartments in New York in the past, I'm just obsessed with New York real estate. So
Right.
while you're here, I'm just curious,
Okay.
what is still like the most sought after area of New York? Or is there, I don't know if there's one because everyone's different. I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
there's not
Like,
one. I mean, look, what's beautiful about Manhattan is that it's an island. So it never expands. It's just is what it is.
yes.
But there are certain neighborhoods that will always have a cachet just because like there's not much there, right? So like if you're looking at Soho, which is we're sort of on one of the borders of Soho right now,
Where you grew up.
where I grew up, there are, no high-rise buildings and very few. It's all sort of loft co-op style buildings. So yes, if there's like a luxury new condo building in Soho, that has a lot of cachet. But downtown, if we're expanding into downtown, Bond Street is the most expensive block downtown. It's really unique in that, the block itself goes east to west. It only exists for, the street exists for about 3 blocks. It's extra wide. It
Cobblestone.
has cobblestones. It's sort of low rise. You get a ton of sky no matter what floor you're on. Um, I would say those are like the big ones, even as there have been incredible other opportunities that have come up, whether it be, the High Line or Nomad, which is where I live now. Those are great, but like I don't think that anything can really replace this part of the city, even like North Tribeca, right? Which has a lot of very well-known, famous, expensive buildings. I think the waterfront on the west side, I'm sorry, to the east side. I know that they've invested a lot of money and put a lot into it, but the west side waterfront is so unique and so beautiful. And
Totally.
if you ever want to like go for a walk with a friend, that's like where you would go. And I don't think that those moments in New York are really replaceable at all.
I used to live at 173 Perry, and I
Yeah, so
love
like
this.
hello.
You have a listing now at Superior Inc., which is
Yeah,
also an amazing
it's an
building.
amazing
I'll help
building.
you sell that. There you
Thank you.
go. But
Okay,
it's
find me
Superior Inc.
someone.
is great. Like
It's great.
yeah, I'm all
I
about like
actually
the
just
West
went
Side
to that
waterfront.
restaurant, Perry Street, the other day.
It's
So
so funny. I
good.
know.
Yeah,
Living there
like
was great
it's
at the
great.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And I actually love, I mean, I swear I would never move uptown, but it's, I love living uptown, but I
Yeah.
love Steve's One High Line. Like if I was going to live downtown, I love that
And I
building.
think that One High Line hasn't even reached its full glory or potential. Like watch when the Faina opens and people like see it as a destination and want to go there.
Yeah,
I think that'll be great.
it's beautiful
Also like
inside.
the gold